Alright, how's it going? So we're going to start this clip off with a rant. I had to get a bearing puller for the pilot bearing for this 97 Corvette, and we already kind of have everything apart, pardon the mess, but we are replacing the clutch and anything else that kind of comes up, a few other things that we'll probably have filmed here throughout the process. But here we have our Autozone special pilot bearing puller, and we've already used this a couple of times and it doesn't work. I'm going to show you why. Go ahead and take it out here. As we can see, we've got a cuff that will sit against the crankshaft, and we've got this guy that will go inside of the bearing, and we have an inside diameter probably somewhere around like the size of a dime, and this is approximately where we had it, so it was spreading at the end here a lot more than the inside diameter, and it just kept sliding out and sliding out. All you have to do is, once you get it tightened up there, then you'll turn this fastener and it will pull this away from the crankshaft. But even though we had this thing overspread, still didn't want to pull out the bearing. And part of that is because we've got this flat fastener down here at the bottom. But mainly, look at these teeth. Like, that's just, there's really not a lip on here, and it doesn't want to grab onto that pilot bearing at all. So what we plan on doing is we're going to go ahead and take this thing on back to AutoZone. It was a waste of time. Couldn't say it's a waste of money because it was a loaner tool. But I guess sometimes you get what you pay for. You know, guys don't usually have these just laying around in their toolbox. We sure didn't, and that's why we had to get this one. And that's how it ended up going down. And it's still new, you know, like I don't think a whole lot of people have used this thing. You know, there's not really any excuse as to why it doesn't work, other than it's just AutoZone Chinesium. I'm pretty sure it probably says made in China on this thing somewhere. If it doesn't, it probably should, because this is terrible. This thing was just a waste. And it says that it's better than a slide hammer type, but and good for precision pulling, but it just lacks the equipment. So we're going to go ahead and take a ride, and we're going to Harbor Freight of all places, because believe it or not, we believe that there's a pilot bearing tool that is going to work from there. We're going to give it a try and see how that goes, and we'll take you along for the ride, and we'll show how that tool works on the pilot bearing. I was going to show this one here being used and sliding out, but I already did that frustrating business yesterday, so we'll go ahead and pick it back up once we get the appropriate tool from Harbor Freight. Alright, so it's a couple of hours later. We've had to run around a little bit. We acquired the tool that we thought we were going to need, which is this guy, but as it turns out, it ain't going to work. Let's take a look here. We got ourselves a little pilot bearing, and we've got these jaws of this guy here, which initially looks like it might work initially, but that ain't going to fit in there. We tried. So what we're going to do is we're going to try a collet style using a slide hammer, which is more expensive than we wanted to go with, but we're going to try and do some kind of a almost like a loaner tool thing with Harbor Freight instead of the parts stores. Looks like we're having a hard time parking.
It's crowded.
A little crowded, and everybody thinks that they're the only one at the store. Well, that's it for the update right now. We'll update again once we get the correct tool. Hopefully this. So we have our slide hammer and bearing puller set. This is round 3. And this looks like it's probably going to do what we need it to do. It does have this little collet with it'll help us out with something that would be 1/2 inch to 3/8. and 4 points, it looks like they're to grab onto the back side of that bearing for us, and that's what we're looking for. 2 is just not doing it, 3 is not going to fit in there. This oddball guy is going to fit in there, and it'll wedge it pretty evenly compared to the last tool that we were using, hopefully. So I'll go ahead and with some YouTube magic we'll get this installed or in place, and then we'll go ahead and get that thing inked out so I can move forward with the little project here. Alright, so here we are in the pilot bearing's natural habitat in the back of the motor here. As I was taking everything apart, this rear seal was leaking from around the perimeter of this rear plate as well as the rear main seal. I replaced all of that stuff. Information about LS engines and how to deal with all of that is all over the YouTube, so we're not going to go ahead and pay attention to any of that. Here we have our little pilot bearing tool number 3. I was hoping it was going to be a little tighter than this in here, but it is grabbing. It's grabbing on something there, so we're gonna give it some tugs with this scary Larry right here, our brand new little slide hammer. I'm gonna go ahead and slide that thing on. See how still it stays for me here. Yeah, I can get a thread. There we go. Alright. We'll just go ahead and seat that all the way down. And just so that we're clear here, before I go crazy with this thing, the way that this thing worked is we had to tighten this down into the fitting here, and that would spread those 3 little legs that we had in there, and that's what got us to be able to hold the inner race of that bearing there. So without further ado, we're going to try and hold this thing straight and give it some taps. And that did not work at all. We might have to figure something out here. Looks like it kind of scratched the paint off her, but I'm not feeling like that came out at all. Let me try that one more time here. Actually, hey Josh, can you pass me that next size up that was in that box there? Yep. Just loosen that thing back up here. Thank you, sir. Alright. Just to see. That might be our guy, actually. Oh man, that one's fitting tighter. That's a little more like it. Alright. Maybe I just started with the wrong one. Oh, looks like the sizes for the wrenches is different too. And that's a 19 also? Alright. Sweet. Alright. Let's go get a 19. Alright. Looks like our choices for another 19 are pretty limited. We're going to go ahead and use this big socket. I don't know if I'll be able to get a good angle up here. Yeah, it's not going to work. Let's try that. Of course, we want to be screwing that in. And our wrench is just our holdback. Before it gets all the way tight, I'm going to check and see. Feels like it's seating okay. If this doesn't pull it out, I don't know what will. If anything, I think we might want more weight on the slide hammer. Alright, that feels pretty tight. I'm not going to go all kung fu on it here. Oh, we got some neighbors that want to be loud. They're usually quiet. They're pretty excited over there. Okay. I think we're going to give that a tap with the wrench here. There we go. Alright, take two. This guy wants to be in the way now. Well, that's become annoying all of a sudden. Alright, I think we're just going to have to pause the video for a moment here. Alright, so here's our Autozone slide hammer that we had to get because our slide hammer for our pilot bearing tool was too small. And here's the shaft from it, and here's the hammer right here on our tiny little 3-pound slide hammer slide. Because our little coupler that goes into our pilot bearing tool, this little guy here, sure enough is not going to go onto here. 5/8 threads. So this is Josh's idea. We're going to try and use this bigger weight on here, which is better than what I was thinking, because this is just sucking. So we had to get a 4th tool involved, and we're still using between 2 different tool kits from 2 totally different places. So I'm going to go ahead and get underneath the car, and we'll continue from there. Alright, here we are back at this thing again. Let's try and screw this little guy on here. Alright, here goes nothing. Oh yeah, it's pulling the motor. It's still not unseating this. Are you kidding me right now? That's not fun. Oh my God. All right. Let's see what we're working with here. A little bit of stuff in there. Get all that out of there. Hit it with a little bit of this. Whoa. And that's probably good. Alright, we've got our little pilot bearing, which I had in the freezer. Hopes that it'll help this process out a little bit. And it already feels pretty dang tight. Come on, Light. A little bit of cooperation, Light. Come on. Alright. And the hammer, which is not here. Here it is. Alright, we've got a 17 socket here, a little 6-pointer. And It's an impact socket, so hopefully we don't hurt anything with using this, you know. Give it some taps. So far, so good. Yeah, it's going along okay. It probably looks a little scary with the hammer I'm using, but I'm just giving it little taps. That way we don't hurt anything. Got a little bit of grease on there. Oh yeah, that's more like it. So, there we go. We got it in there, completely flush, and that's ready to go. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to replace the speakers in the truck. Probably the last thing I'm going to do for the video, so we're kind of running low on battery now. That's going to require we pull that guy out. 2 screws under here, screw here, this plate will come out, and then this guy comes out like this for us to unplug that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and, with the YouTube magic, go ahead and get that done like as suspected. As we get the door panels off, we have a, that says a Roadmaster on it. Don't know how good we'll be able to see that in this lower light. We're going to find out by surprise. And then over there was factory crusty boy. How many ohms does it say?
4 ohms. Made in Mexico.
Cool. I think the mother speakers we got are 4 ohms.
Yeah, there you go. Woo.
Who knows what this one is? We're about to find out. Alright, we are back. Looks like I just decided to kind of cut the wires there, and they're twisted together with some tape. Not even very good. We got some of this action going on here, and only 2 screws were holding this driver in, so that was awesome. There's the 2 speakers together that came out just now, and the 2 magnets stacked together are probably about the same as these guys we just got from one of our other cars that we're not using right now. I'm just going to go ahead and stick these in there. They're 4 ohms also. Yeah, we'll just gotta be an improvement over that. Seriously. Alright, so we're just going to put a few of these little connectors on here. We don't like this, like twisting the wire around things to get it to happen. We're not about to be about that life. Or what the other guys were doing with the tape. So these aren't the best connectors, but they are going to work out a whole lot better than what was going on. So we're just going to make sure that those are all the way in. We're going to use a proper set of crimpers. My favorite thing to do is kind of get these guys in here to start off with. And if it's already in the groove, and it's already in the place it needs to be in, then we don't have to worry about that once we get our wire set inside of here. Of course, let's try that again. A little twisty there. Let's make sure that we have that wire all the way in. I want to see any of that copper. And pinch the hell out of it. And if we've done it right, we should see just a little bit of that strand there. And this thing ain't coming off of here. It has been proven that butt connectors are stronger than the wire was originally, so I think that's going to work out pretty awesome for our speaker there. So we're going to go ahead and do that to the other side too, and then we'll get them mounted in here, which might be some kind of a process, but we'll figure that out and get the 2 speakers in, and then we'll give it a little test run. we'll see what we got going on. Alright, looks like we got it all set up. And they're working, and we don't want to spend too much time playing copywritten stuff. But it looks like that's going to be the end of today for that. And I think we're going to probably pick back up on what's... Oh, come on, focus, camera. Come on and focus. There it goes. And we'll try to continue some more. We're going to get some Loctite. Get the flywheel up there and that bell housing. That torque tube maybe. Definitely a starter. We'll find out tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and see how this video ended up going. We might upload again tomorrow. We might wait another day. I guess we'll see how some of the feedback ends up going. But hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give a like. Go ahead and comment if you feel free. Subscribe if you like what you see. And we'll see you next time.